In the 20s and 30s, to a young boy named Jerry Lemelson, New York City's Staten Island was a country paradise. There, his imagination took wing, along with the model planes he flew in the empty fields. When he grew up, poor vision prevented him from realizing his dream of becoming a pilot. But he did develop weapon systems for the U.S. Army Air Corps in Alaska during World War II. Afterwards, he carried home aeronautical and industrial engineering degrees from New York University. His brief corporate career came to an abrupt end when an employer refused to implement a life-saving safety improvement he had suggested. From then on, the only one who employed Jerry Lemelson was Jerry himself and his inspiration. In his 30s, he married Dorothy Ginsburg, whom he had met briefly as a child. On the way back from their honeymoon, the dedicated young inventor couldn't resist a visit to the patent office in Washington. Often it was Dorothy's work as an interior designer that kept them afloat during the lean years, when Jerry struggled for recognition from his attic workshop in the family home. Yet his ideas kept coming. In the 50s, he invented seeing robots. Then, fax technology, way ahead of its time. In the 60s, a system for manufacturing integrated circuits. In the 70s, magnetic tape drives that were used in nearly every Sony Walkman. His fertile mind was churning out patents at the rate of one a month, a pace he kept for 40 years. If you include those that are pending, the total is more than 500 in all, more than any other American except Thomas Edison. The sheer range of his innovations is dazzling, touching all facets of modern life, from manufacturing to toys, key components of barcode readers, ATM machines, cordless telephones, VCRs, and CDs, not to mention brakes for inline skates, Velcro darts, and on and on and on. Yet for all his creativity, only a small fraction of his ideas found markets, and many met with resistance. In 1977, for instance, a patent examiner told him that miniaturizing video technology into a small camcorder would be impossible. Success came to Jerry later in life, with little impact on his lifestyle. He once joked that he still walked around the house turning off lights, but he turned on many other lights when he and Dorothy established the Lemelson Foundation to promote American invention through its initiatives at the Smithsonian, Hampshire College, the University of Nevada at Reno, and the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Though cancer claimed Jerry's life, his legacy survives. He always championed the cause of the independent inventor, whose imagination could help close what he called America's ingenuity gap. Above all, he wanted young people to consider invention as a career in the first place. For a closer look, we turn now to Jerry himself and to those who knew him best.
Most young people will seek to become entertainers and leaders in fields of various sports. And my concern, it will have a shortage of what I believe to be the most important people in this country, the people who create the new technologies and new products.
He had the ability to go into this complete encyclopedia of scientific fact and extract an element from here and an element from there and put these things that seem to have no connection together.
Every hour, almost on the hour, Jerry would wake up, the light would go on, true story, the light would go on, he would enter his idea in the book, the light would go off, he'd go to sleep, the next hour the same thing. In the morning, I had from 6 to 8 inventions to witness, and I did. This happened every night, 7 nights a week, every week. Jerry had the most fertile mind of any man I ever knew.
When we were kids, Jerry did some of the traditional things that a father does with 2 sons. He played ball with us. He'd go swimming with us on vacations. Of course, he'd lie on the beach in between dips in the water and take notes on a legal pad.
When he was creating, he was very happy. I believe that they talk about transcendental meditation, but when someone is able to work and immerse themselves in what they're doing with the kind of enthusiasm and faith that Jerry had, that brings an intense kind of satisfaction and joy.
Jerry would have us test out toy ideas. We'd go to toy stores and he'd pick things off the shelves and he'd bring them home. And if we were lucky, we'd get to play with them before he took them apart because he didn't always put them back together.
I don't believe it was luck. It was intelligence, genius, intuitiveness, and stick-to-itiveness. He just kept pushing and pushing for what he felt was right.
He didn't seem to be held in by limits. You know, he'd never say, well, I don't really have enough knowledge to, you know, design a new medical delivery system. I'm not a doctor. He would never say that. He's like, well, why can't I try? And that's what he would do, even though, and sometimes, you know, it seems like, how can he be working in this? He has no experience in this field, but he didn't care.
He was very gentle and very mild and very loving and kind, but he was a very big fighter. He believed in never giving up.
Had a substantial amount of success in the last 5 years in licensing my patents, and I feel an obligation to plow back a portion of the income I've made to improve the lot of the inventor of America and to improve the future economy of this country.